Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome again to another blessed night here in Ramadan. And guys, I just got to tell you guys, I love this month right off the bat. I just want to say that this is, to me, Shaitan is gone. We could do like we get together. We have the best food. Your health is there. I mean, what more can you ask for? You know, they think it's a struggle. We think it is a struggle, but at the end of the day, it's just purification to the highest level. So welcome to the month of just literally just beauty on earth. Allah Azza wa Jalla, this is a gift for us. So I love Ramadan. I love what it stands for. I love the significance of the nights that we spent, you know, together. Hopefully you are doing the things for yourself to kind of better yourself, to make some decisions down the line that will better you as a person, that you make decisions now and the present person and who you are makes decisions to better the person you're going to become, and you're going to build that character. And everything I've been honing in on, guys, is just truth. And once you have the truth, you have to drop the fear. Once you drop the fear, it's incredible because you're never afraid of consequences anymore. And if you have wisdom and you present the truth through wisdom, it's incredible. I just want to say right off the bat, thank you for all the messages I've been getting. I'm so honored, and I'm grateful. And guys, I want to just say something here, and I think it's very important. Right off the bat, like, interact with the speakers as much as you can. I know there's a lot of speakers out there right now, and God bless all of them. Whoever has taken the flag, decided to stand underneath it and say, you know what, this is my identity, this is what I stand for, and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Because once you identify, it's very difficult to get out of that lens, because you're telling people, look at me through this lens and nothing else. And now you're no longer just any lens. You're telling people that what you want them to look through at your personality. So they're going to judge you by that. So if you go to Hajj, that's a title, but that's a lens that people are going to want. There's characteristics underneath that, and you have to hold up those characteristics. It's not just a title, it's the characteristics underneath the title that come with the title. There's conditions to that, you know. So at the end of the day, I'm proud to say, you know what, that to every speaker that's out there and who has taken the stand to say, you know what, I stand on this ground and I'm not moving, and it doesn't matter what happens. And even sometimes we guys, we're not, you know, infallible. We're going to make mistakes just like everyone else. But just for the guys who's really, and the sisters who's really taken the kind of upon themselves to speak and to say and to kind of go out there and just hold up the flag, more power to you. And I send my salams to you, all of you, whoever has been out there. May God bless you and protect you and everything that you do. So I just wanted to say that first of all. So interact with the speakers, guys, like as much as you can, because they need your feedback. Be it a sister, be it a brother, be it you know, it doesn't matter. Interact with them as much as possible, and give them from your attention. And don't be afraid to ask questions as much as possible. I think that's incredible when you do that. So, and if you have any suggestions for your speakers or anything like that, talk to them, tell them, you know what, do this topic, or you know, talk about this, or, you know what I mean? See, it just one came in. I just want to say his name now straight out. Is Steve Sala. I really appreciate your comment today, man. It means the world to me. Trust me. And I love that, man. I love that interaction, and it, like, to us guys, I just want to tell you something. At the end of the day, and I'm gonna just use, I hope he's okay with, but Steve has been through a lot of struggles, and it's amazing to me about that this is the lecture and this is a topic, and he actually sends me a message today. So Steve, I know you're watching, and hats off to you, brother, in terms of becoming kind of like a icon in the community for struggle, and to do that. Much respect, man, and God bless you and your family. Guys, overall, that's what we need to do. Like, just we need to take care of each other. This is our community. This is me. I'm part of my community. I was raised here. I've grown up here. I got nominated to speak at the corporate headquarters of Amazon. I'm from here. This is my identity. This is who I am. And I'm proud to say I'm from Dearborn. I'm proud to say that's our backbone. And I'm proud of that. And I will never leave that. It doesn't matter. And wherever I go, I hold that flag. So our community is beautiful. It's an amazing community. Okay. We have our struggles like everyone else, but let's back up each other. Let's be back to back, shoulder to shoulder, and take the youth and the leadership and everything else. Let's take this community to a whole nother level. So again, much appreciation, man. And other people who have sent me messages, again, thank you. And just for kind words, for everything that you've given me as a person. It means the world to me. So I just wanted to say that. So overall, guys, tonight, please pay attention to this. I'm going to literally mix in so much information. And I just want to say, like, please, if you can take anything from the past lectures, take this one. This is the epitome of our religion. I want you to see how powerful the religion is. The religion is not a joke, guys. It's not a joke. It's a system. It's literally a software for your mind. And once it nourishes your mind and it locks in, it's incredible what it will do for you. Trust me on that. Guys, I'm going to give you a little story about me. I was just like everyone else. I was just moving along from just like a normal young man. Okay, I was just moving along in life. I wasn't doing anything wrong in terms of what the things that I would other people would do, but I wasn't doing everything that I needed to do. So one day I just decided someone came up and they said they're like this Islamic retreat. I'm back there. I was like just all into my, my fitness and just everything about just show. And I wasn't a bad kid. It's not like I was doing anything wrong in terms of those kinds of things. I was just mixed into the system. But at the end of the day, I had my struggles. I was struggling with my identity and who I was. And somebody mentioned that to me. They said, there's this retreat, you go off for 4 days. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, whatever, Then all of a sudden, a few of my friends went, and I saw myself, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll just go. And I get there, and I decided to sign up, and I went. I get there, and we're getting on the bus, and I remember, like, as soon as we're getting on the bus, I get on the bus, and I feel so out of place. I'm looking around. I don't know anybody. You know what I mean? My friends were already I guess, went on their own. And now it's just this whole environment. I'm by myself. And I don't feel like I fit. I don't belong. So anyways, I said, it's like a moment where you stop and you say to yourself, okay, should I leave or should I stay? And that moment, you have to make a decision. I'm telling you, for me as a person, I wouldn't be sitting right here in front of you speaking to you if I had decided at that moment to leave. One decision. It's a small little moment in time, but I made that decision. I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm staying, and it doesn't matter. Regardless of the emotions that I was feeling, I moved, and I went to the back of the bus, and I sat down, and I'm just sitting there. It's a 3.5-hour ride. People were nice. They were saying things to me. Again, my clothing didn't fit. Nothing, like it's just, I was out of place. I get there and just beautiful camp. And just, I'm sitting there like, wow, this is completely unexpected for me. I'm like sitting there like, wow, what is this? And we get there, we sit down, there's food, there's just, everybody's really nice. And I just, for one moment, I sat down and I went to those water and I just sat down. I just left everyone. I just sat down. I just looked into the water and I said, man, this is incredible. Like, what have I been, like, where have I been? Like, so for me, what I did in terms of these things, I just stopped my life. I stopped the direction I was going. Again, it's not like I was doing anything bad, but it's just, I stopped my life. I stopped it. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. Because now my heart is intrigued and I'm moving. I'm like, whoa, what is this? And guys, by the time I left, it was a 4-day retreat. And I remember when I got home and one of my brother's friends came up as we were getting out of the car. And I remember the first thing I said to him, I said, man, you got to go on a retreat. It's something very special. Like in that moment, I will never forget why, man, because at the end of the day, it was so euphoric to me. But I knew at that moment that I had changed. And there's no way I was going back. It's like you walk up on this fence and it's a very tall fence. And then you look back behind you and all the world is there. You look across, you don't see anyone. There's no one on the other side. So it's scary to kind of venture into that. But then you start climbing and you get to the top of the fence eventually. And now your personality split. It's split in half and you're just watching. You're watching who you are. Do I go back to where I was, or do I dare to change myself? Struggle against the self to change it. Do I fight that? لا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة. We're going to talk about that. But do I make that decision to go to this side? It's a new, but I know once I go to this side, there's no coming back. And then you make that decision. And you start climbing on the other side of the fence. And as soon as your feet hit the ground, there's no going back. You know it. There's no going back to who you were. There's no way. It's a transformation. There's our scholars, they said, there's two births in life. The first birth, which is a physical birth. The second birth is a spiritual birth. And when that happens and your feet hit the ground, it's incredible. And you look on the other side of the fence of where you were, and you're like, oh my God. There's a new reality that dawns on you. Your lens is changed. And when you do that, your perspective changes. And then the way you're looking at reality changes. Then what you do, you start walking away from the fence on the other side. You start walking away from it. So now what happens? You realize that you're never going back. Guys, that decision for me was a long time ago. And on that retreat, I said I was going to go to Hajj. I made that decision. And 4 years later, I went to Hajj. Every year I tried and I couldn't go, for something would come up. But I made that decision. But that decision, that one small decision, changed my whole life. So guys, the struggle of the self is the most beautiful thing in this world. It's the most beautiful challenge. And I'm going to start off with this. And in the Quran, it says, Ya ayyuhan nafsul mutma'inna. Okay. And even before I get into this, I'm going to say what I need to say in terms of the respect for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and join me in doing it. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Now, النفس المطمئنة In the Quran it says, Ya ayyuhan nafs al-mutma'inna irji'i ila rabbiki. So that secure soul, come back to what? Come back to your Lord. It's okay, forget the cat, guys. She's always just messing around. But Ya ayyuhan nafs al-mutma'inna irji'i. So come back to your Lord. So now, nafs al-mutma'inna is this, guys. I want you to understand this concept. Nafs al-mutma'inna is the person who takes the conscious mind, the explicit mind, okay? Their cognitive aspect of their personality. They take that and it dominates their subconscious, implicit mind. That's the person who can control this. I want you to think of the Prophet ﷺ, where he had the Quran downloaded into his subconscious. What your subconscious does when it starts aiding you, this is what it does. You have to program it. You have to send it rules. So your goals are actually commands for your subconscious mind to allow you to see what you need to see in the moment. When that challenge comes up, your subconscious mind reaches back into your toolbox, brings out the right lens, sets it into place. Now you see clearly. It's evidence for you that it's evident for you in terms of what you need to see. You become aware. So it gives you that lens subconsciously. It does it automatically for you when you program it right. So imagine Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he had the whole Quran downloaded as his system. That's in his subconscious. That is him. And he brings, when the situation, any challenge comes up, there's an answer. Automatically, he doesn't have to think. Your speed of decision making is incredible then. Why? Because you've already programmed yourself as a person. This is the struggle against the self. The one whose conscious mind dominates his subconscious mind, programs it properly. Then what? When I need it, I have I have the lenses that I need. They're like minions. It just goes out, the subconscious grabs what I need in the moment. I don't even have to think about it. It just sets it into place. I'm aware instantaneously. When that happens, guess what? I see things others can't see. I have the right lens that I'm looking through because my subconscious mind is programmed properly. Now, when that happens, and now the challenge comes and I hit it so quick, most people don't even realize what has happened because I'm so quick in my adjustments to the situation because I can see, I have insight. Now, what creates right lens? Truth of the mind. You have truthful thoughts connected to the right emotions. That creates a lens. Think of your perspective as a camera with exchangeable lenses. The camera is your perspective. Your subconscious mind owns the lenses. It will bring it back into place. When the situation happens and you're looking through your perspective, okay, you need a lens to look through. So now what happens, here's the challenge, okay, it comes to you. Your subconscious mind reaches back, places a lens on your perspective. Now you are aware. That's insight. If you have the correct and truthful thoughts connected to the right emotions, now it pops it into place, instantaneous awareness and instantaneous drive. Your emotions allow you to approach or avoid. That's the way it works. So now when you do that, you will know exactly what has happened. You will know it. And you will approach the right things and avoid the wrong things instantaneously. That's how it happens. So it's incredible when you start becoming like that. All right, 5-step process, guys. Please pay attention. The religion is beautiful. This is the way to struggle against the self, to go inside, okay? We're going to go inside. We're going to do some surgery. When we do the surgery, okay, we're going to do mental surgery to pull out the emotional cancers. That's what we're going to do. And once you see this process, you're going to see how it works. It's incredible what our religion is, guys. It's incredible. And I'm going to mix in some science with it. And I tell you guys, really look into, again, some neural psychology, look into it's called biopsychology, philosophical psychology. It's incredible, guys, what is happening in the world with these kinds of things and the way we are starting to understand the mind and how it's programmed. Please, we need more people in those realms and those atmospheres, and to represent. So if you have a knack for psychology, you have a love for it, read up on these things in terms of what's happening, because as human beings, we're changing now. Just the cognitive narrative is just incredible. So I really push you to go towards that. All right, enough said. Let's get into the presentation. And overall, these 5 steps I'm going to take you through. Okay, please, please, please lay these down somewhere. Okay, don't forget them, because this is a process. This is a code. Okay, if you get this down and you do this on a daily level, okay, I promise you, you will be able to emotionally regulate yourself. Meaning when situations happen, you can regulate your emotional state where you stay calm and with an unrelenting confidence underneath. Calmness with confidence is a weapon. You become weaponized like that, where no matter what chaos is around you, you're calm, but your confidence is like a bull. You're ready. That's incredible in terms of when you do stuff like that. You need to get to these kinds of stages. When you emotionally regulate yourself, you know how to do that. This is a process that our ulama have given us. So please pay attention. It's incredible in terms of when you download it into your system. All right, I'm going to take you through the steps first, and I'm going to tell you what they are in terms of a general structure, because in psychology, we do know that when I give you a general structure and a general outline, then you fill in the detail. That actually works even better. All right, so I'm going to do this with this one. Not all presentations have to be that way, but I'm going to do it with this one, okay? So here we go. Take down the 5 steps as I go through them. All right, so the struggle against the self. Jihadun nafs. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih, he sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He was standing and a group came from battle. They just came back from battle. And he says to them, he says, welcome to the group that has come back from the smaller jihad, meaning the smaller struggle. And they just came back from war. They're like, Ya Rasulullah, you just said the smaller struggle. And he's like, yes. They're like, okay, so what's the bigger struggle? He says, the struggle against the nafs. This is the most powerful thing in terms of the journey. Why? Because when you go inside, you are moving towards Allah. When you go to the outside, you are moving away from Allah. You compare yourself to other people. Your answers are not on the outside. They're inside of you. You have to figure out the universe that's inside of you, not what outside of you, okay? I said to you, like, guys, in your brain alone, there's about 90 billion cells. And each one of those cells makes 1,000 connections. Imagine that. Imagine how many synapses there are in your brain. Okay? There's more space in your brain than subatomic particles in the universe. Check the numbers. I'm not telling you to believe me. Okay? Go back, do the math, do the physics, do whatever you want. It's there. Your mind is a universe. One of those cells is your uniqueness that Allah has given you. So you need to struggle against that to find that small pinhole. In terms of that creates you and separates you from any other human being on the face of this earth. That's what you have to do in terms of that. Now, the struggle against the self, he said the struggle against the self in terms of when he said to them, struggled what? Against me. I have to go on an inside journey. Not the outside universe, the inside universe. Imam Ali has a beautiful hadith. It's very well known about that. I'm just going to leave it there and we're going to move from there. All right, number 1. First step is what? Monitoring. Al-muhasaba. Al-muraqaba. That's number 1. Number 2, al-muhasaba, accounting. Okay. And this, when I take account, this is where the struggle happens. Am I a good or a bad person? Okay. Being a good or a bad person, guys, is in right here in the book that I showed you the other day. Oh, by the way, I didn't show you a book. So let me give you another book. This is called Flight Plan by Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy was the first author when I got into the self-help books. He was the first author that really changed my life. But in this right here, Difficult Conversations, one of the greatest books, it talks about the 3 levels in terms of the identity. It says, am I competent enough? That's the first. They said the core principles are 3 within an identity. Am I a good or a bad person? Was number 2. Okay. Am I competent? My competence, when it's checked. So when you call someone stupid, understand you're hurting them at the core of their personality. When you insult someone's intelligence, that's what you're doing. Number 2, am I a good or a bad person? Right here, in terms of what we just said, takes from accounting. A lot of us, we beat ourselves up so bad that we're so bruised on the inside. Just like you bruise your body on the outside. Trust me, guys, when I'm coaching anyone, it's the bruises that are on the inside that hurt the most. And please, guys, as you guys are moving like through this life, try not to hurt anyone, because those are sins that are going to follow you to the day of judgment, unless that person forgives you. Try not to do that. Okay, that's number 2. So that aspect. And number 3 is, am I worthy of love, care, or attention? Those were the 3 that they found in terms of the core aspects, the core parts of a personality. Now let's move forward. Okay, resentment is al-mu'ataba. In this level, in terms of I've committed the sin, now I feel resentful. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Okay, this I have to be so honest, because it goes into a concept called cognitive dissonance and how it works. I'm going to leave that aside and I'll get to it later. If I can actually get hit on that point, I'm not sure if I will, but I'll try to. Okay, number 4 is al-muharaba, the struggle now against the self. Okay, that's number 4. And number 5 is now becoming habitual, which is al-muwadaba. Okay, creating, when I struggle and I create a new habit and I set it in line, I got it. Now I have ownership of that habit. If my habits are not just rented for a day or 2 or 3. Okay, I'm not just in Ramadan, I'm a Muslim, which I rent kind of the religion for a little while, and so I feel better about myself. Yeah, it's okay, I did a little bit. And guys, I'm talking about myself with my own struggles. I'm just trying to give you a little bit. So hopefully, if you maybe a little lazy, it's okay. I'm trying to push you just a little bit. So forgive me. I'm not being condescending. I swear to you, I'm not. It comes from a deep felt place in my heart, and I'm not trying to look down at anyone. No, when I do these things, I want to push you towards the right things, and hopefully that. And if you're good and you don't need my advice, grab it and throw it against the wall. But I appreciate it that you're listening. So these are the 5 stages, and we're going to go through them one by one. All right. So number 1, al-muraqaba. In psychology, this is called awareness training. And if you have ever had any mentorship, or this is actually a thing that we do. So I do this with my clients. But regardless of that fact, let's go into what that is. Okay, becoming self-aware. Remember, I talked about the lens. Okay, so I want you to think of your conscious mind. Something happens where you get triggered. Okay, your sensory neurons go off, your inner neurons connect to that, and then it goes to your motor neurons. That connection, now you just react and you hit someone back, and you don't even think about it. What happens in the loop here? All subconscious. Then afterwards, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have. Guys, we have people who kill people in that state. That's why they plead insanity. But becoming aware of what you're doing. So taking not account, but taking the process to figure out what is good and bad actions have been made through the day. You have to look at that. You have to create a schedule. Okay, what have I done? Did I hurt someone? So I was just, not too long, I was part of a conversation, and this person brought up another person's name. And I just shifted the conversation so quick, just really quickly. It wasn't, I didn't hurt the person. I just shifted the conversation. God, I didn't want to go into that. And the person didn't really know it. They didn't mean it. But just, I'm a little advanced in terms of what may happen. And they didn't do anything wrong. I just shifted it just a little bit just to make sure that doesn't go, because that person's name was mentioned. And if the other person now mentions something negative, which you don't own, now you just got yourself in trouble for no reason. So And if you see the pattern, then you will see your good and bad habits. You should change. Now, guys, this is your conscious mind. When you check your system every day, okay, you check it. What you're doing is you're taking your conscious flashlight and you're shining it on your subconscious wiring. That's what you're doing. And you're looking at yourself and you're saying, wait a minute, there's an inside person here that's here. Why did you give me this lens in this situation? Why did you do that? You shouldn't have done that. I'm checking myself in terms of my own subconscious mind. And it's the automatic system. There's a concrete system and there's an automatic system. The automatic system is just triggers. It doesn't think. It just hands you what? The lens and says, look through this. And guys, I want to tell you something. Please be aware of this. Please. The more you lie, the more you lie, the more you will train your subconscious to lie. Guaranteed. The next time you don't have time to think, check yourself and see if your mind, which is subconscious, comes up with a lie or it tells the truth. Check yourself at that moment. It's incredible how much you'll know about yourself when you don't have time to think and you're put in a pressure situation and you have to lie to get yourself out of it. Do you say the truth, even if it's against yourself? Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq, I recommend it highly. Listen to it every day. He says, Al-Qawli bil-Haqq wa in az. To say the truth, even if it's against myself. Do you have that kind of courage to do that? That is awareness training. It's training yourself for the truth. That's how you need to become. Now, guys, I want to tell you something here about when you start studying your day, you're going to go into time management. You have about 3,000 thoughts per hour, okay? About. Some say 50,000 per day, some say 60, some say 70. We're going to take the 70 right now. That will break it down to about maybe 2,916 thoughts, which is about 3,000 thoughts per hour. Think about that. That's your bank account. That's your bank account. So you have 84,600 seconds per day. That gets dumped into your bank account each day. What are you going to do with it? You have 3,000 thoughts per hour. How many of those thoughts are you going to spend thinking about Allah? How many of those thoughts are you going to spend, okay, doing nonchalant things? How many of those thoughts are you going to spend playing on video games? How many of those thoughts? Cell phone. Check your screen time. Okay? If you're doing the right things and you're in front of screen time, no problem. That's great. Use technology for what it's supposed to be used. This is your life. This is the bank account of your life. And watch this. In the Quran, it says, قَالَ رَبِّ لَوْلَا أَخَّرْتَنِي إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ قَرِيبٍ فَأَصَّدَّقَ وَأَكُنْ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. He starts asking Allah, please pay attention. Now he's facing Allah. He's in the day of judgment and he's standing in front of Allah. Allah in the Quran, he says, وَهَلَكَ عَنِّي سُلْطَانِيَ. My own will is taken away from me. And it's only allowed, I'm allowed to speak when I'm given permission. Now you can't imagine just standing there and you can't even speak till Allah commands you to speak. Now you're in that moment and fear strikes. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. You will flee from everyone. Your father, your mother, your brother, your spouse, your children. You're going to have something that's going to occupy you. And every one of them will. Why do you ask for time? He says, قَالَ رَبِّ لَوْلَا أَخَّرْتَنِي. Allah, please give me a little more time. Why doesn't he ask to be put out of hellfire? Why doesn't he ask to be put in heaven? Why doesn't he ask to what? For a house, for a car. You would ask for anything. Why would you ask for time? Because you're going to realize that this time that you just had, you wasted it. And it's gone. And there's no bringing it back. How does Allah answer this person? He says, وَلَا يُؤَخِّرُ اللَّهَ نَفْسًا إِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهَا. He says, Allah will not give you an iota of time. When your time is done, it's sealed, it's done. There's no going back. It's a one-way ticket. Time is a one-way ticket. You're not gonna what? Be able to go back. That's it. It's in course. Use your time wisely. Use it. Right now, the last 5 minutes, they're gone. Bring them back if you can. You can't. Number one, al-muraqaba. Take a schedule for yourself. See, okay? And see what that schedule is. In terms of now, the next stage. Watch what happens. Al-muhasaba, accounting. So, like, cognitive reflection is a beautiful thing when it's done right. When you do it right, it's incredible. And I'm going to take you through some of this. Why do I need to count? Why did I commit the sin? And what's the reason behind it? Now you're doing accounting. Now you have your schedule, right? You have your schedule. Why did I do that? This is you checking your subconscious element. Why did I react? Do I have a problem here? Is there a wire that's connected to the wrong circuit? Okay, do I need to rewire myself in a certain way? Do I need to reconnect certain things? Okay, why is this cell firing? There's an action potential that happens within the cell. Okay, why is this cell firing and it's making me do this? Why? Why is that happening? This is you taking account in terms of what you're doing. Now, watch this. ليس منا من لم يحاسب نفسه كل يوم. This is Imam al-Qadim alayhi salam. He says, you are not from us, from amongst us, the Shia of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, if you don't do this every night. Look at yourself. Look at your programming. That's the only way you can self-improve. The outside is a testing ground for the inside. You're a prototype and you're testing your ideas. You're testing your thoughts on the outside. So check yourself so you may better yourself in terms of what you're doing and how you're moving. Now, okay, so going through that, okay, process of triggers, okay, guys, marking down these things, and I'm not going to go through this too much. Okay, I'm going to give you this really quickly that you guys can write it down. I don't have time to go through it, but this is a process. This is called, this is in the book, man, it's not coming to me. Somebody sent me a text of which one I'm thinking. If you remember it, send me a text. I'd love to see somebody give me a little shout right here. I'm gonna wait like a few seconds. It came back to me, but I already committed. So let's see if someone sends me something. Which book is that from? Does anybody know? Anybody who's watching? All right. Okay. Okay, we got one response. Habits of the 7 habits of highly effective people. Not yet. No, that's not where it's from. It's a great book, by the way. And here you go, Steve. Let me see. Where is it? Here's the 8th habit. And we did do it. Yeah, here we go. We put that book out there. So those are some of the books that we're going through. Anybody else want to take a shot? Okay, I don't have that time to wait, but thank you for your response. That is from The Power of Habit. Guys, that's an incredible book. Download it, get it, do something with it. It's an incredible book in terms of this. It's how to change a habit and how to what? At the end of the day, how to change a habit and how to create a new habit. And it talks about neural streams and how they work. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, that's for you to go through. That's kind of your homework if you want to go through that. This is a process I even use for myself. I use it for my clients. It's an incredible process. Take it down. Take a picture of it. I'll give a second, and then we'll go from there. 3, 2, 1. All right. Now, remorsefulness. Al-mu'ataba. Here we go in terms of this, guys. Okay. I feel okay, I feel that now I've gone through and I've committed the sin. Okay, I've committed something wrong, and I know it. Okay, now, guys, I talked about al-muhasaba, and we said about a good or bad person. And in the Quran, I'm going to go back here just one step. Okay, in this, okay, this is where being good or a bad person, in terms of this other book right here, in terms of the difficult conversations, that's where it comes from. Okay, being a good or a bad person, in terms of when you take account for yourself, guys, please, some of us, we hurt ourselves so much because we go towards self-sabotage. The guilt eats us up and we don't know how to deal with it. So please, if you're like that, okay, understand you're still doing something wrong. It's good to feel remorse. It's good to take account and to feel the guilt. Okay, but you gotta vent it. You gotta be able to understand that past that is forgiveness, and Allah forgives you. You have to actually be able to get to the next stage in terms of that you have to learn how to do self-forgiveness as well. When you do that, you're letting the poison out in terms of that aspect of it. So you have to believe in Allah's mercy. Allahumma inni as'aluka birahmatika allati wasi'at kulla shay. I ask you by your what? Your mercy that has encompassed everything. So if you're like that and you beat yourself up a lot, you got to be careful there too. You got to be careful on that side. Okay, don't go to extremes on either side. Now, in this one, we talked about what? In terms of being honest. So honesty versus what? Rationalization. I'm going to get through that. If I can get through this whole thing, that'd be great. If not, I'm just going to leave that point aside. All right. Understanding guilt. Guys, please really listen to this. This is in this book right here. These concepts are in this book right here. This is an amazing book in terms of, if you want to understand, this is one of the top psychologists in the world. Okay. If you want the book, there it is. All right. So now, guys, he talks about what guilt is, and he talks about what shame is. What happens when our actions contradict our principles? This is what happens. It generates guilt. Okay, guilt can be a downward spiral of increasing self-hate, immobilizing us and damaging our what? Self-esteem. Guilt is great, but you got to know how to deal with guilt. Okay, guilt happens when we go against our principles. When you go against your principle and something you truly believe in, that means your actions go against what you believe. I believe I shouldn't cheat on a test. I cheat on the test. That's going to generate guilt. That's what happens. That's a system for generating guilt. Now, if you don't know how to deal with the guilt, here's the way it works. Some people, and a lot of people, they rationalize their thought process. They lie to themselves. It's okay. Everybody was cheating. So I have to lie to myself to remove the guilt. And some people, no, they say to themselves, I don't really think I believe in that. I do believe in it, but my actions are against it. I need work here. I need to work on myself a little bit. I made a mistake. I accept that I made a mistake. And I go back to Allah and I say, Ya Allah, I've made a mistake. Ataytuka ya Rabbi, mu'tarifan. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, I've come to you. And I'm what? I'm what? I'm admitting. You're admitting the mistake. That's the gateway to your own self-love and forgiveness, because it's going to soften your heart. The other way, it's going to harden your heart, because sins harden the heart. Without forgiveness, you can never remove it, because the heart will get hard. And if you want to know if you have a hard heart, when it's time to pray, are you motivated to pray? That's what hard means. That's what it means. It's not about that you want to butcher people or kill people or whatever. That's not what it means. It means that your heart is going what? Hard from connecting to the emotions that you need to connect to, that bring you closer to Allah. At the end, you may become heedless. It's a spiritual hardness that we're talking about. It's when the heart closes spiritually. So that's what he talks about in terms of guilt. Okay, having said that, okay, guilt is still important in terms of, now watch, he gives a positive to the guilt. So still important in children because it increases a child's sensitivity to his parents' wishes and requirements. So guilt is a necessary thing, but when it's overdone and you don't know how to deal with it, it becomes a problem. So honesty versus what? Rationalization. I lie to myself or I'm honest. Either way, the truth is going to come out one day, whether you like it or not. On the day of judgment, as we said yesterday. Now, guilt does protect the child's relationship with his parents and helps to shape a normal conscience as long as the parent has healthy standards. I'm not going to get into that. I would usually do that if I had more time, but I'm just giving you these points in terms of understanding guilt and remorsefulness. Now, I just want to give you a little bit in terms of the religious aspect. Remorsefulness is so beautiful when you know how to use it. Remorsefulness is a gateway. Okay. Now, what does that mean? When I commit the sin here and I feel remorse from this point to this point, and then I know how to relieve the guilt by feeling remorse. I feel the remorse. I go to Allah. I get into sujood. Okay. I cry. I pull out the poison of that guilt. And now what? I'm injecting myself with spirituality. I'm coming closer to Allah. Now, when that happens, I listen to Dua Kumail and I say to myself, Ya Allah, I've made a mistake. I've come to you. And this is my mistake. It's in my hands and I know it. And I'm admitting to it. And I do feel broken. Heal me. Show me how to do that, please. And if the tear comes down, that's remorsefulness. The heart is soft. When you feel that remorse, that's the rahmah from Allah. And now you stay away from this. Now you did this remorsefulness, then from here to here, till the next time you commit the same sin, that gate, let's say it's 3 days, 10 days, 1 year, 2 years, that's rahmah from Allah. Remorsefulness is the key. Otherwise, your heart dies. ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة. Allah has put a seal on their hearts. Why does He say hearts first? Hearing and sight. That's not where we want to go. Now, let's say you've taken account. Okay, you're aware. Okay, al-muraqaba. You're aware of what's your surrounding. You're paying attention to what's happening to you. The second step is al-muhasaba. Now you're aware that you did on your list 1, 2, 3. Okay, then you look. Al-muhasaba is looking into the reasons why. So now that's check number 2. I look, and point number 2 tells you check why you did what you did. Number 3. Now because I did point 2 here, I feel really bad about it, but I don't destroy myself. But I don't lie to myself either. I'm rational. And I tell myself the truth. I don't become a professional liar to myself. And I tell myself the truth and I go back to Allah. I use it as a gateway to spirituality. And I feel that remorse and now I'm coming back. So now I have these 3 steps. The 4th step is now I'm going to look point number 2 and I'm going to tell it, your mind, I'm coming after you. I'm going to change this about myself. This is where the mental surgery happens. Where you actually, on that list, you pick a point and you say, this is within my subconscious mind, where you've turned now your conscious flashlight and you've pointed it to your subconscious wiring. And now you see the problem. Guys, I want to tell you something in terms of how precise now we can go into the brain. We can actually excite one neuron, just one neuron out of billions and billions and billions and about 90 billion neurons in your brain. We can target one. That's how incredible that is. So imagine neurons, they actually wire together, okay? You have dendrites on one side. You have then the dendrites that come into the cell body. Then you have the axon. Then you have the axon terminals, okay? And then it connects to another neuron. So one neuron, they're connected. They connect to each other. They're in a series. And when that happens, now it fires. Let's say one of those neurons goes down and it doesn't work anymore. And you get like Parkinson's disease. That's what happens. Now what they can do, they can actually find that one neuron that's no longer active within that series. And the person who's shaking like this stops shaking because they put a probe in it and they give it impulses by a pacemaker. And now the person has full functionality. They can run, they can get up. It's incredible what's happening within the mind, guys. It's incredible. So imagine your neurons that are like that contain the right information. And they're connected to the right hormonal streams within your body that bring the right feelings. And it's incredible what happens when you connect like that. And you get into sujood in front of Allah. And now you're thinking of what you're saying. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, as we said the other day. Ar-Rahman, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And you say that and your heart just floods with emotion. Wow, that's my Lord. And you connect to the words. That means you have the right circuit firing. That's releasing the right hormonal streams. And now you have an emotion. This is khushu', as we talked about the 7 levels of khushu' yesterday. This is your programming. This is why remorsefulness is so important in terms of understanding where you're at. Now, let's say that one neuron, okay, has gone wrong. You look into your subconscious wiring and you see the problem. Now, you have to become a mental surgeon. You have to go into your subconscious mind, cut out that neuron, and what? Rewire it to something else. Or you need to fix it in terms of, because that neuron is a behavior. It represents a behavior. It's a lens. And when temptation hits, that will trigger, and guess what? Bam, you're going to just follow the lens, because that neuron will trigger what? A circuit. And when that circuit hits, it's going to hit what? Your heart in terms of your hormones. And now you feel that emotion, and now you're connected to whatever it is that temptation is. And you've done it so many times that it just, small little trigger stimulates that neuron, you're done. And you just go straight to it. The shaitan's not even present anymore. He's not even there, and you can still do it. And if you really want to test yourself in this month, look at your temptations in this month. That's your nafs. The shaitan is not around. That's your nafs. That's who you really are. Whatever temptations you have in this month, those are the things you need to go after, because the shaitan is no longer involved. It's your neural circuitry that's wired that way now. That's become you. That's your reality. You have to go into the circuits, snip that circuit that causes the emotional hormonal stream, and you have to get out the hormonal cancer as well. You snip the circuit, you'll get out the cancer, the emotional cancer. Rewire it and move it to something else. That's the way it works. Biopsychology, religion, intact. It's so beautiful. The religion is the most impeccable thing. It's a system, it's a software that when you have it, nothing can move you. Move me from my principle. Move Imam Hussein from dignity. Move him from honor. Move him from respect. Can anyone take that away from Imam Hussein? That's principle. That's a system within an identity that is submissive to Allah. That's power. So that's how we should work. Number 4, al-muharaba. Now I've committed the sin and I've gone in through my exercises. I see where the sin is. I see it's number 2. I point my flashlight to it and I say, now what? I've gotten all the triggers for it. In terms of, I see it exactly where it's at. I see what time of day it happens, who are the people, and I see it's a friend that's doing that. Ya laytani lam attakhid fulanan khalila. In the Quran it says, I wish I didn't take so and so as a friend. And it says, Ya waylata, woe unto me, that I wish I didn't take so and so as a friend. And I figure out that it's that friend that's doing that. That's a trigger for me. That person, when they come around, it triggers this neural circuit. And now I feel a certain way. And now I feel obligated to do certain things. I go after that. I cut off that circuit. And I remove that attachment. And now my heart is no longer attached. This is al-muharaba, the struggle. Now that you did al-muhasaba and you went through that awareness training and you saw what it is. And then after that, what do? Now you pick out one point and then you feel bad about it. Then you struggle against it. You break it and you remove it. That is power. Now this is the fight. Please pay attention to this. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, he says, أفضل الجهاد من حارب نفسه التي بين جنبيه. The best of struggle is the one who fights the self that is in between his two sides, is right there. That's struggle. That's you becoming something special, becoming something different. When I made that decision and I stepped onto that bus, that's me fighting myself. And imagine if I didn't make that decision, I wouldn't be in front of you right now. I couldn't be. That's the way it works. Let's go through this real quick in terms of how this works. All right, create a new habit, killing the old one. This is what I was talking. Okay, fighting the battle. I want to tell you a little bit about this, guys, before I move on. Okay, two things happen here. Please pay attention to it. And I'm going to get through this real quick because I'm kind of out of time. All right, so what happens when, I've explained this to before. Okay, when two thoughts get in a ring, now you have your temptation and you have to walk away from the temptation. You have two options. Okay, go do something else. Go do your homework. Go to your friend's house. Go to school. Fast, or commit a sin. Okay, that will break your fast. Let's just take that example. Okay, I have a sin, a temptation that's gonna break my fast. Okay, and I have what? I have temptation and I have fasting. Whatever thought you allow to win, literally whatever circuit in your brain you allow to fire, okay? And you have inhibiting neurons and you have exhibiting neurons. What those mean is this: there's a bunch of cells that fire at the same time to get you to go towards fasting. And there's a bunch of cells that fire at one time to get you to go towards what? Breaking your fast and going towards temptation. Whichever one system works, whichever one wins, gets dopamine. And dopamine is like food for neurons. It makes them stronger. It makes that circuit stronger. If a circuit, a neuron needs about, its resting potential is about 70 millivolts. It's 70 millivolts. Inside the cell is negative. Outside the cell is positive. There's charges there that are there. When it fires, it has to get to a threshold about 55 millivolts for it to fire. So if you want, you have to stimulate it, where the heart has to be activated. And when it's stimulated and you hear Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, that stimulates that and it hits your heart. And when it does that, you're in sujood and you're beyond. There's nothing that will stop you from getting into that. If you're nowhere to pray, you have nowhere to pray, you will find a way to pray. Why? Because it's so impactful that when it fires, it's there, it's yours now. That is that. So because you've done this so many times and you've conditioned the heart to do that, that it's gotten so much dopamine. It's like going to the gym. People get addicted to the gym. It's the same thing because it's that dopamine release. You can get addicted to salah. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, كُلُّ شَيْءٍ عَادَ حَتَّى الْعِبَادَةِ. He says, everything is a habit, including prayer. So get that dopamine kick. Get your jollies from that. Trust me, that's what you want. That's how it works. Now from here, guys, Brother Jawad, I don't know if you're watching, Brother Jawad Kaki, he's the ex-VP of Microsoft. Thank you for calling in. I don't know. I can't answer right now. I'll give you a call back. I don't know if you're watching, but I'm grateful. And so from here, guys, please, on this, I'm going to move forward. Okay, process. Honesty versus justification. I'm not going to go through this. I already gave you that a little bit earlier. Okay, justification, what happens, honesty. Okay, right here, guys. I want to give you these 8, but there's actually 10. I'm sorry, there's actually 9. I have one that's missing on here. I know it because I didn't put that in. All right, so Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, Ataytuka ya Rabbi in dua kumel. Please, the dua is this. Listen to me. The dua will feed those neural circuits. That's what it will do. A dua is a system. It's a system of what? What is it a system of? It's a system of medicine for those neural pathways that connect properly. If you connect them into your system and you download them properly, it will create a... That's medicine. Ya man ismuhu dawa. Okay, the name of Allah is what? Is a pure. It's a medicine for the heart. Why? Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, Inna Allah ja'ala dhikr jila'an lil qulub. Allah has made what? Dhikr, his remembrance, an enlightenment for the heart. It's a calmness for the heart. Tranquility within the heart. A dua. So please, the next time you're going to listen to music and you're going to listen to what? A dua or the Quran, trust me, they're in completely different universes. Trust me on that. Okay, the way you're programming yourself, and people will tell you music doesn't affect me. So have a conversation with me about that, and I will show you the effects of it. Regardless, I'm not challenging anybody, by the way. You want to listen to music, guys? Listen to music. Okay, before I really took my journey, I used to listen to music. Okay, and I'm being that serious in terms of that. I used to do that. I had to remove that. I haven't listened to music in about 22, 23 years. I cut the system down. And guys, there's a whole nother world past music. And I'm not talking against, listen, I know this is a sensitive topic for a lot of people. And I'm sorry, I'm just taking a position. But I can give you my opinion as well. And you can defend it. It's no problem. It's in just academic discussion. It's okay. But at that level, in terms of how these things work, okay, once that happens and you're programming yourself, Quran, music, all these things matter. Everything you dump into your system matters. There are poisonous thoughts, poisonous words that have poisonous meanings. When that happens and it hits your system on the inside, just like you eat bad food, you can have bad thoughts. And they will what? Create a virus within your system. That's how it works. All right. So I've come to you, Ya Allah. I'm what? Apologetic, regretful, okay, brokenhearted, earnestly asking for forgiveness. Okay, see all these things, please, these things are medicine for your heart. This is how you soften your heart. Imam Ali is giving you medicine through the words and the meanings. Okay, he's triggering your brain. Okay, he's firing those neural circuits that create a certain emotional structure, which is a hormonal structure within the body. He's triggering your cognitive narrative, which is your neocortex, and he's triggering your what? The other system, the limbic system, which is your feelings. These right here, this is medicine. This is literally medicine right here, okay? And he talks about these. There's one more, I'm telling you, there's one more in the dua. Please go back and see it. Okay, acknowledging, submissive, okay, confessing. All these things are beautiful. I'm repenting. This is me softening my own heart. This is me massaging my own heart. And it becomes soft and soft and soft and more soft. Because it's submitting to Allah. That's the beauty. إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهِ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. Surely the one who has come to Allah with what? A tranquil heart. That's what we want to get to. Now, number 5 is habit. Creating a new habit after you win the battle. Now, you've decided, you know what? Here's the temptation. You say, no way. You've got me before. Not today. My fast is too strong. My belief is too strong. My wiring is too strong. My hormonal streams are too strong. And I see you. And I snip that circuit. And I make that decision. I become the surgeon. The second I go against my habit, and it's a regressive habit, the second I go against it, I've become the surgeon and I've cut it. And the more you keep cutting, and every time it triggers, the more you cut it, the more strength you're going to have. And it's incredible. And the most amount of strength that you will have is when? Right when you engage the first second. The further you go into it, in terms of thinking about it, you're going to get to a point where you have control and there is no more control. It takes you over. The circuit takes you over. That's a sub-personality that you're building, by the way. You're built up of sub-personalities, and that's the way it works. The second you become the surgeon, you snip the circuit, and then you get out the emotional cancer, and there's no more attachment. You've disconnected that. That, guys, please, just follow that, please. And then go towards the healing after the surgery, okay? Go towards dua and say, Ya Allah, I stopped myself, and I did it for you. How much self-respect are you going to have for yourself when you do that? What happens to your self-esteem when you do that? What happens to your confidence when you do that? What? See, happiness is here. It's you having the right system, following it and implementing it on the outside. The outside world is a testing ground for the inside world. That's what Allah has made. Now, guys, repetition of the habit. This is huge. Now, you've sliced that, you've gone back to Allah, and now you're creating a new behavioral stream. Guys, you can never get rid of old habits. I want to tell you sometimes right now, when something in your brain, you can never get rid of a circuit. Neurons that fire together, wire together. You're never going to remove that. But this is how they work. Here's a drawer right here. I have a drawer, okay? Habits are like a drawer. The first second everyone's got a drawer that they put stuff in. They have a whole bunch of stuff that's just crazy. There's no organization to that drawer. They just put things, like your headphones are probably in there, your batteries, all bunch of stuff in terms of what you usually go for, okay? Your fingernail clippers, all these things are in there, okay? Right when you open the drawer, you see what's in front of it, okay? What you want to do is push the bad habits to the back of the drawer where they never fire anymore. They're not stimulated anymore. Because what happens as you build a habit, it takes less voltage for it to fire. It means it needs a lighter stimulus. If I really wanted something in the beginning, it was harder for me to fire that neuron. But the more I do it, it actually takes less millivolts to fire that. It usually needs to get about 55 millivolts for an action potential to happen. And an action potential is literally when the circuit fires, and now you have a thought. There's a threshold, and if it's, let's say 54, it will not fire. It will go back to what? Polarization of the cell. So on that level, that's what happens. So build these habits properly and watch what will happen. All right. Just like a cowardice person needs to learn how to have courage in a situation, you need to learn how to remove ill action and replace it with good ones. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to finish, guys. Done. Thank you for bearing with me in terms of this. Guys, so you have to lay down a new neural circuit, and you have to fire it as many times as you fired the old one. So it pushes the old one into the back of the drawer. So once you create a new habit, you have to lay down a new neural circuit. And guys, the mind, long-term memory is infinite. We know that there's no capacity. We don't know of any capacity for the mind right now in terms of long-term memory. So on that level, you have to understand there's latent software, meaning it's there's software that's not programmed in your mind. There are cells in your brain that are not programmed. They're latent. They're waiting. And hopefully this information, you've programmed some things, and now you've gotten some information, and you filled some cells. You filled a part of you that hopefully will push you in the right direction. So now lay down new neural circuits in this month, okay? Fight your old ones, struggle against the self, where you become a mental surgeon and you remove and you snip away what? You snip away and you become that surgeon. You snip away that circuit where you remove that part of you. Then what? What do? You get out that attachment and that emotional cancer. And now you're freed from that. You're freed from that prison. That's the way it works, guys. Please push those things away from you. And it's incredible what will happen. I promise you, if you follow this system, I promise you, it's there. Guys, we've had this for hundreds of years. Please, please respect the religion. If you don't know something, say, I don't know. Don't say this doesn't make sense. Don't look at the Quran and say, this doesn't make sense, meaning that your opinion is better. Respect the Quran in terms of these kinds of things. Say, you know what? I don't understand that. What does that mean? Go into that. Just take one verse. Guys, please, one verse this month. Take one verse and just learn it, understand it. There are some complex verses in the Quran, but there are things that it will talk to you at your own level. Live with it. Be its friend. And hold on to it. And I'll finish with a story, guys. As I was moving through this whole journey, that was the beginning of my journey. I went to Hajj. Then as I was moving through the journey, I read this hadith. And it was incredible to me. And it was about a person who had just passed away. And it was by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the hadith states that when you die, and you go into the grave, there will be another person with you who slipped into your shroud once they were putting the kafan around you. That slips into your shroud, and then it goes into the grave with you. And when it stands in the grave with you, it will come out when the two angels come and start asking you questions. They'll tell that person to leave. That person will not leave. And they say to him, why aren't you leaving? And he says, I'm the Quran that he used to recite. And I think that's so powerful to gain that connection with the Quran. Once you download that into your system and you have it touch your heart, where the verses now are interacting with you and they're feeding your system, your mental wiring and your hormonal streams. And when that becomes you, now you're moving in the right direction. And I tell you guys, please keep us in your dua. And in this blessed month, stay up and pray the night prayers if you can. And if you do, please remember us and remember the people who are on this call. Remember all your brothers and sisters around and pray for others before you pray for family. That was Fatima Zahra alayhi salam's desire to do that. That's what she always did. And when you do that, Allah will answer your prayers and you don't even have to ask. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. We'll see you again next time, guys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.